presentation today is on academic dishonesty at Loma Linda Academy within the different ethnic groups. To start off with, Loma Linda Academy High School has about 400 students. 388 of these students were surveyed in order to find out more about academic dishonesty at LLA. We had the students answer 13 questions in all, each question having various other questions within it. The survey consisted of questions such as, in what classes have you noticed cheating? Check all that apply. And then underneath would be options such as art, English, math, science, religion, etc. With the results we accumulated by doing this survey, it was found that with the information, most ethnic groups at LLA have very similar views on cheating, with the exception of the occasional differences from the Black and African ethnic culture. So starting with the demographics, out of the 388 students that were surveyed, 86% of them were found to be Seventh-day Adventists, which is a given because we're a Seventh-day Adventist school. The students were then divided into 5 ethnic groups. Starting from greatest to least, we had Asians with 141 students, and that creates 37% of the student population. And then mixed with 85 students, and that is the orange with 23%. And then we had Latinos and Hispanics with 69 students, and that is the gray. And then Caucasians with 63 students, and that is the yellow color. And lastly, African Americans and Blacks with only 27 students, and that creates 7% of the student population.
There are many different types of cheating. The definition could have varied widely among the vast amount of 388 students. These students were free to choose which answers they believe to be their definition of cheating. Despite the varied differences, 4 out of 5 groups agreed upon the same top 3 definitions. The first one being copying another student's answer on a quiz or test, which topped out at 91%, which is right there. Second top, plagiarism, using the author's words or ideas without giving credit, which topped in at 80% of the whole student population, which is right there above discussing test questions. And number 3, copying another student's homework, which topped in at 70%. All the groups were in agreement besides one group, the Black and African American ethnicity group. Their rankings were different, with 2 and 3 differing from everyone else's. With their number 3 was copying homework off another student's test, and their number 2 was allowing another student to copy their homework. Thus, we conclude that this group has a slightly different and mismatched opinion than the rest of the other ethnic groups.
So one of the biggest steps in preventing cheating is to figure out why students are cheating in the first place. So for our survey, the students had the option to check all that applied. So on our Scantron, they didn't have to just pick one. They could pick any amount they wanted, whatever they thought were reasons why students were cheating. So these are the 4 highest reasons why our students said that they were cheating. It's not enough time to complete assignments, the fear of failing, not understanding how to do work, and the academic pressure to do well. For the Black and African Americans, they scored the highest in not understanding how to do the work. And the Caucasians and Asians, they scored highest in academic pressure to do well, and second, they scored high in fear of failing, and theirs is very close. So the Caucasian, they scored in academic pressure to do well, 63, and then in fear of failing, they scored 62%, so it's really close. And then Asians, they scored 70%, and fear of failing, they scored 68%. The Latinos and Hispanic and the mixed group, they both also scored highest in academic pressure to do well, but their second was a little more spread out compared to the Caucasians and the Asians. So the only group who did not agree with the rest of the ethnic groups was the Black and Africans, because they had the not understanding how to do the work instead of the academic pressure to do well. When we average the scores of the 5 groups for each reason to cheat, academic pressure was overall the highest. So after averaging all of them, the category for the survey for 42% cheating was there was not enough time to complete the assignment. 52% was they did not understand how to do the work. 61% was that they were afraid of failing, and 65% was that they felt the academic pressure.
In the survey that these students were to take, they were asked how much cheating has occurred and how much they've noticed. The question they were to answer is how much they cheated in their personal lives. The question, over the last 2 years, have you ever cheated, consisted of the answers never, once or twice, and 3 times or more. All ethnic groups were to choose what fits them best based on themselves. Out of the 388 students that were surveyed, about 19% of the amount of Asians at the school voted never as their answer for how much they cheated. Along with that, 23% from the mixed races, 20% from the Latinos and Hispanics, 27% from Caucasians, and 41% from Blacks and African Americans. As for the answer once or twice, at 40%, Latinos and Hispanics at 22%, Caucasian also at 22%, and Black and African Americans at 11%. With the data accumulated, out of all ethnic groups, 46% of them voted never, 43% voted once or twice, and 28% voted 3 times or more as a total of the students we surveyed. In the survey that these 338 students were provided, they were asked what classes they were most tempted to cheat in. From the survey, we can conclude that all ethnicities choose math, science, and social studies as the top 3 classes that they were tempted to cheat in. It is shown by our research that amongst Asians, mixed races, Latin, and Hispanics, math is the most negatively impacted by their academic dishonesty. We have also found that Black and African Americans and Caucasians believe math is their second most impacted class, while science is the class that they most cheated rather than math. This shows that the ethnic groups, Black and African Americans and Caucasians, have different temptations to cheat in different classes. All 5 ethnic groups can agree that social studies is the 3rd highest impacted for cheating.
A question that we asked was, why does a student cheat? One of the biggest steps in figuring out a solution and how to prevent cheating is to find out why students cheat in the first place. For this question, you were able to choose more than one box. It stated fill in all that apply. The top 3 reasons for all ethnic groups besides African Americans was academic pressure to do well, the fear of failing, and not understanding the material. For the Black and African category, Their number one reason was not understanding how to do the work. It showed that 70% of the 27 that voted this chose that as their first reason. Their second reason was academic pressure to do well, and their third reason was fear of failing. Finding ways to prevent cheating lies in finding solutions to the issue. A lingering question for the surveyors was, what do the students believe is a fair punishment for first-time offenders? With this information, teachers and school admin are able to understand how the student thinks. They are able to assign punishments according to the offense. 84% of the 388 students said that a warning and a 0 on an assignment was an adequate punishment for a first-time offense. Following with only 3% for the punishment for a first-time offense, 0 and demerits followed. The consequence, 0 and a parent conference, came in third with only a 2% rating. What came as a surprise to us was that 7 of the 388 students voted for the most extreme answer, 0 and a suspension. The Loma Linda cheating falls into academic misconduct. The punishment for the first offense that we have at our school is a 0 grade on the submitted work, a notification of both admin and parents, demerits assigned to our citizenship grade, and also a written contract to keep them from office, National Honor Society, and leadership positions. It keeps them from running for a year. With this information, administration should be able to assign a more fair punishment for a first-time offense, because many of the students feel that our current punishment for a first-time offense isn't the best option. In conclusion, the information that we gathered about academic dishonesty at Loma Linda Academy supports the statement that most ethnic groups have very similar views on cheating, with the exception of the occasional differences from the African American and Black group. Also, the percentages of the data prove to be very similar to each other. While many of the reports of academic honesty came from specific ethnic groups, the reasons for dishonesty were mainly the same. After reviewing the results of the survey, we as the surveyors are better equipped to finding a potential solution to the high occurrence of cheating that occurs at Loma Linda Academy. Right now, I would like to call up my 4 partners for the question session, and we invite you to ask any questions that you have for 5 minutes.
Anyone?
Any questions?
Now it's your turn.
Yes, Mariah.
You said that the highest category was 0 in suspension, but on your graph it says other. Can you explain that to me?
Other in this category was for our comments section, and frankly, our comments, it wasn't that relevant because they were more jokes. And like the students, they didn't take it seriously, so that didn't really matter. Anyone else?
Yes.
You said that a lot of them didn't take it seriously. What if a lot of people taking the survey didn't even care? They just like,
Well, we can only go off this data because this is what we have. We can't tell if they're being serious or not for sure, but the comments were pretty sarcastic, in our opinion. Yes. Oh, wait.
The question is, how much the error margin on that?
Sorry.
The error margin, you know, like
Error
how many
margin.
percent is this?
Margin of error.
Oh.
There's really no way for us to tell, because we can't tell if students are really telling you their absolute truth or if they're just putting answers because they want to. So there's really no way to tell what the error margin is.
Yeah, when we conducted the numbers, we ran through the Scantron several times to make sure the numbers were correct. So like the only way there could be an error is if the students were not telling the truth.
Anything else?
Yes.
Being brand new to the presentation, first of all, I appreciate the work that you did and some of the suggestions that you're passing on to administration, and Pastor Mark and I will talk about that. I'd like to ask, what kind of discussion did you have as a group before you conducted the research, knowing that you were moving into potentially sensitive areas as you're comparing ethnicities?
Well, for the research, we did it more to help the school, so we didn't think that like sensitivity would matter as much, because our main issue was helping the school like figure us more out as students, rather than only basing off what the administration thinks is a good idea. So to answer your question, sensitivity didn't really play a big aspect in our research. Sorry.
No, it's, whenever you conduct research, there's gonna be a wide range of variable responses, and you try to cover as many as you can. Sometimes you don't. But it would be interesting to follow through in class with your research project and the results, and see how others thought about it and how it impacted them as you rolled out the presentation. That'd be fruitful.